This is the question. What sort of writer or creative person do you want to be 5 or 10 years down the road? Do you have a plan for success? What would that mean to you? In this video, I'm going to help you come up with a plan if you don't already have one, and suggest that just leaving everything to chance is not necessarily the best way to achieve greatness, if at all we achieve greatness ever. Now, you need a path because things don't just happen to you. You need to sort of make them happen. You need to at least set up the parameters for which you'll have gotten there. Now, it's not very frequent that somebody writes a magazine article or a book or a movie, and then all of a sudden, with no marketing help or thought outside that box, that someone just comes in, sees this great content you made, and then makes you a multimillionaire. That has probably happened once or twice in the history of the world, but it is probably not going to happen to you or me, unfortunately. So instead, what we have to do is put in a little work. And in this question of what sort of person do you want to be down the line, the question of branding is very important. And it's, again, perhaps unfortunate that that is the case, but creativity alone does not get you to where you want to be. Your brand, I would suggest, should emerge from that visualization of what you want to be in the future. And so I don't know where you personally are in your writing career. You may just be on the first day looking forward, or maybe you've been doing this for a long time and you're looking for some tips to sort of get an already established career moving a little further. Either way, I think these skills are important to think about. But first, I'm going to address the very early career writer. When you start out, you don't want to get stuck writing things that do not add to that idea you have of where you want to be in the future. Now, let's say your passion right now is to become the best restaurant reviewer, food writer in the world, or whatever, just have a career built around food writing. You don't get started in that by writing celebrity interviews. You don't get started in that by writing political commentary about whatever politician you like or do not like at the moment. You start building on that dream by writing about food right now. This goes the same for everything. If you want to be a political writer, you want to start focusing on political writing. If you want to be a movie writer, someone who writes scripts, start thinking cinematically in your genre. And this is very important because when you're starting out, you, whether you know it or not, are creating a brand. If you start out writing political commentary, it becomes easier to write more political commentary down the line because you're generating an audience for your work. You're also generating editors who will look at your biography or the things that you have written, and they'll be like, oh, he writes politics or she writes food. Be sure that you stay on track because at the beginning of this process, you're not likely to be making very much anyway. Writing is one of those things that has sort of a slow curve before it builds up into something that is sustainable. And being on brand is very, very important. And really, as writers, we don't have resumes, right? It's not like, you go from one staff job to another staff job. And where they look, oh, you worked at New York Magazine, now you work at Playboy Magazine, you sort of build that way. Instead, your resume really is the stuff that you have written, and that is what defines you as a person. And if it's what you love doing, then you're developing that thing you love as you go forward. And if you don't have this already, it's important to create social media profiles. It's important to make a website. If you don't have one right now, that just press pause on this video and go to like DreamHost or GoDaddy.com or whatever web host place and get your web domain. If your name is available, get your name. If you have a company or whatever, be sure there is a place that people can go to reference your work. This is very important. Even if you've done nothing, right? Literally, you've written nothing at all. A website is the first place to start, because later when you start approaching people, they're going to want to know about you and they're going to click on your website. And the beauty of a website is that you control all the content that is on it. And, I will go into pitching soon. And so this is sort of like looking forward a little bit. But when you send a pitch letter out, you write, here's my story idea. Here's the stuff that I want to put in. Here's why I'm the great writer to do it. And here, take a look at something about me. And then most magazine writers will see this link, and they'll click on that link and they'll go to your website, and it will start telling them the story about who you are as a person. And very rarely do they read any of your clips. Like literally, I can check to see the user paths on my website, because you can track movement through websites, and most people will just go look, see your bio, and then nod and then go forward. Since you have control over that, make yourself look good. Make a good looking website, and that is like this first step to establishing that brand, which then pushes you forward. Now, to those writers who've been around a little bit already and are just looking to hone in their career, don't worry. You already have a brand because you've already done stuff. And if you look forward to what comes next, start pitching projects that are in your home and in the things where you want to eventually go to. Now, for me, as I mentioned in the last video, sort of long line fisherman looking for big projects, I will only do projects that I think have a future in the 5 to 10 year range. I will only do things that, since I knew when I started, when I was writing, and the money frankly isn't very good if you're getting paid $200 advice, or the Atlantic or the New Yorker pays $300 a blog post right now, that is not a career that sets you on a sustainable place. What a sustainable place is, let's say a house somewhere, let's say medical insurance, let's say owning a car. These things that to many of us creative types seem like so far in the future or so impossible to achieve. Let's say you want to achieve those things. You need to start creating projects that, in whatever genre you're in, can grow into those larger projects that will give you that middle class income. As you will see in the future videos, it's very rare for individual stories or individual creative projects that you work on to provide enough money in that sort of initial lump sum that will get you to that middle class dream or isle of stability. What we're going to have to do is think of creative ideas as, in a way, brands of themselves, as they are the seeds of projects that then can grow. And the stories that you're going to pitch are often these little seeds, these little things that start one way but have potential to become another thing and incarnate in various ways as we go forward. So again, the lessons from this video: think about your brand, think about where you want to be in the future, and start creating an identity around that success. Okay. Looking forward to telling you about the publishing process next and how, magazines work in the first place.